Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we are specifically going to talk about the use of the Spelljammer setting slot. So it's about a 90% lock that Spelljammer is coming to Dungeons & Dragons. There's still about a 10% chance it'll bounce out, but that's safe enough for me to start talking about Wizards of the Coast using a setting slot for Spelljammer. So what do I mean by this? Well, first of all, whenever we get a new setting, it's displacing things, right? We could have got a brand new setting that has never been produced before in Dungeons & Dragons, or we could have gotten the revival of a existing setting, right? And so basically, whenever a setting is announced, it is displacing other settings, right? So I want to talk today about so Wizards of the Coast has, let's assume they've made this decision, and I think it's a 90% lock they have, that Spelljammer is the next official setting for Dungeons & Dragons, right? Did they waste that slot? Were there other settings that could have been put in place that were better? So first of all, would it have been better to get a new setting? Absolutely not. We have an abundance of settings in Dungeons & Dragons, and it is risky to add new settings. I am very excited about the Strixhaven setting. So there are circumstances where I do get excited about the new settings that they announce. However, basically, I definitely think that we have a situation where, so I think they definitely should not have used a new setting. This is better than a new setting coming in, because there's a lot of old settings that people want brought in as official canon now in Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. So what are the new settings, right? So we have Exandria, we have Explorer's Guide to Wildmount. That's a new setting, right? Strixhaven is coming out. That's a brand new setting. And Theros was arguably a new setting, and so was Ravnica, right? So we definitely do not need a new setting. So this was a better choice than a new setting. All right, now what are the classic settings that this displaced, and were there better options? The answer is yes. There were way better options than what they picked. Okay, so here's so first and foremost, what I would really like to be the existing Dungeons & Dragons setting that I would much rather have preferred be chosen than Spelljammer are the following. So first and foremost, this is just a J. Scott Garibay saying, I know nobody else is calling for this, right? There's not, right? Is Avernus, which is Birthright. I would really, really, really love to see Avernus Birthright brought into 5th Edition. I fully understand that will probably almost never happen, but that would be my number one pick, right? So there are some other ones, right? So I think I would have preferred to see Dark Sun. Dark Sun it would have been a much better pick in my opinion. Dark Sun is truly unique. It's really, really different than any of the existing Dungeons & Dragons settings, and it was brought up in 4th edition, and I think Dark Sun is really one of the most unique Dungeons & Dragons settings there is. Now, I do get, though, that one of the reasons why they didn't bring Dark Sun out is they do have a lot of dark content, right? They already have Curse of Strahd. They just brought out the Ravnica book. They just brought out the Ravenloft book. They have a lot of dark content, right? And we just got Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and even that's got some pretty dark elements in it, but it's a very joyful product, and we're fortunate to get it, right? It's fun. So I get that why they might not have brought Dark Sun back, because I think they're very aware right now with Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus and Morton Cayman's Tome of there's a lot of dark content in Dungeons & Dragons. I'm not sure we really need many more. With that said, I really would have preferred to see Dark Sun to this. The other thing is, I really love that Brahm style of art. There's just a lot of reasons. Planescape. I think Planescape would have been a better option than Spelljammer. So, and absolutely Rokugan. I definitely would have preferred Rokugan to be brought forward, and I definitely would have preferred Dragonlance. Okay, now, so I think the answer is they did waste this slot. I'm not too upset though, only because there are some settings that would have been much worse than Spelljammer. But right off the top of my head, right, I would have much rather have seen Darkstun, Dragonlance, Rokugan, Birthright, all of those settings way before I would have asked to see Spelljammer. And so, so I definitely think there were better options, right? However, there are some options that they did skip that I like that they skipped, right? I do not want a return of Greyhawk, so all of these would have been much, much worse, okay? And actually, the choice of Spelljammer was not the worst choice. These would have been much, much worse. All right, so Blackmore would have been a much worse choice. Actually, Dominaria or any of the Magic the Gathering settings. I think we definitely have had our fill of Magic the Gathering settings coming into Dungeons and Dragons. I do make an exception for Strixhaven because I don't really feel Strixhaven is actually a Magic the Gathering setting. I really think it's bringing Hogwarts to Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm all for. So I'm not like, oh, I want another Magic the Gathering setting. I'm like, hey, I want Harry Potter, Dungeons and Dragons, and if you need to get it through Magic the Gathering, so be it. I'll take it. That's a perfectly fine trade for me, right? Like whatever path you need to get there. So those two I definitely think so I really see no desire for Greyhawk to come back. It's completely duplicative of Faerun, and not only is it duplicative, but it is worse. Like it's just flat out worse, right? So I definitely think Greyhawk would have been a worse selection. And when I'm thinking about, and there's a whole bunch of others like Mystara, Blackmore, Greyhawk. I think there's a few. I think those are probably the ones that I just like really have zero interest in seeing return, right? So basically, I do think that Spelljammer is a wasted slot. I think there were at least literally half a dozen settings that I would much rather preferred to see than Spelljammer. However, there are absolutely worse picks, right? So Mystara, Greyhawk, Blackmore, all those, they really didn't distinguish themselves from Lord of the Rings. So yeah, that's another one. I also very much, I am not giving up hope that someday we could get a Lord of the Rings setting official for Dungeons and Dragons. I think that may happen at some point, and I would really be here for it. And so that would have been one more that I would have preferred. I guess that would, that's not new, it's a setting. That would have been something coming in from external. So that is my take. What do you think? What would you have rather seen than Spelljammer, or do you think this is a perfectly used slot? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, what settings would you put below Spelljammer? Like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't bring this back. All right, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.